All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the least important podcast on the Warriors Garden Network. I am Sean Folstad, and today I have a wonderful guest with me, author, um, internet magnate,
No, it's not.
all around cool guy, author D.F. Lovett, also known as David Lovett.
Yep. Both names are true.
Both names are true. Both names are true.
I'm willing to accept either name at this point. I used to try to have a little more of a separation between those.
Yeah.
And now I'm both of them.
Now, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Yeah. Well, okay, why would you want to be separated?
At a certain point in my life, I first started writing things like stupid blogs,
Okay.
like stupid internet stuff
Mhm.
in 2008. And at the time, I also was trying to get like real jobs and have a real job and like be a grown up. And so I thought that I had a very loose extra identity, which was DF Lovett and then David Lovett. Those were my two things. It was a little maybe like an SEO play on some level.
Yeah, okay.
Where it was like
for the folks at home who don't know what SEO is,
search engine optimization,
all right.
which is one of the things that I do in my professional life. And see, it's all over the years, it's all blurred together.
Yeah.
But at the time, there was a little bit more of like David Lovett is like a professional with a LinkedIn page.
Yeah.
And DF Lovett had a blog called What Would Bale Do that was about Christian Bale.
Yeah.
It was about hypothetical Christian Bale reboots. It still exists. Like the website exists. You can go to it. You can look at. I'm actually here to promote it.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I want to talk about.
Yeah.
That website hasn't been updated since 2024. I do like one blog post on it a year now.
Okay.
It used to be.
I was gonna ask if you update it. Yeah.
It used to be a thing I put a lot of energy into.
Yeah.
I put a lot of energy, and it was like DF Lovett was putting energy into What Would Bale Do, and then when it came time to do other weird writing projects, there's like a sci-fi book that was DF Lovett.
Yeah.
And then David Lovett was over here working in the professional world.
Yeah.
But now there really is no. Now it's actually more of a nuisance.
You're like a guy at the office who's like trying to hide that he's like like an immaculate jazz saxophonist.
just didn't want everyone to know who I really am.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a pretty safe play when you're talking about work relationships.
Yeah. And so, also though, like it's not like I didn't really try that hard to hide any of this.
Of course,
I think it straight up said. Like at a certain point on my LinkedIn, I was just like, I also write as DF Lovett, and on my website, I was like, my real name's David Lovett. And then it's created some weird. Every once in a while, the internet gets mad at me because I wrote like a thing about how I don't like the 1989 Batman, which I regret writing for the most part, but. And I've got like a James Bond.
Like, did your feelings change on it, or you just regret writing it? Do you regret sharing it?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Okay.
I think that there are some things that I've written. So what? I probably wrote that in like somewhere between 2011 and 2015, maybe.
Okay.
It might have been later than that. But I was like, the 1989 Batman is the worst Batman movie. Like it's worse than Batman and Robin. And I think this was I have to remember, I think I intentionally timed it where it was like, it's worse than the new Ben Affleck Batman.
Oh, I see. So
Like
people were already going to be mad at you saying any. Yeah,
which
yeah.
is a really weird. Like I don't agree with that opinion. Mostly because for one thing, Jack Nicholson's amazing in it.
Yeah.
I think Michael Keaton does a really interesting interpretation of who Batman is. It's not like my interpretation. Uh but I think like Tim Burton really captured something with that like neo gothic bizarre version of Gotham.
Yeah.
But I had some like really pedantic issues with it. Where it was like Batman kills people in it, or at least he doesn't try not to kill people.
Oh, I see.
And I've always been a big fan of
Batman doesn't
kill.
Yeah.
Like the Frank Miller, Jeff Loeb interpretations of Batman are my favorite in the comic books. And so I think I just briefly went all in on like, I guess I'll be a toxic fan. And it was like, hey, internet.
So it's a little clickbait. Clickbaiting people.
I mean, I literally said it's the worst Batman movie.
Yeah.
And it got like traction in the sense of like people on Twitter were telling me to kill myself, where it was like, but it was not
that'll happen.
Not to the point of me being like,
yeah, maybe I should. Maybe I was wrong about the Batman thing.
I owe everyone a big apology. And then I just wrote like I do still write stupid things for the internet.
Yeah.
But I think like I wrote really dumb things that were clickbait. And some of them, went well for me in a certain way. It was like I wrote this thing about how Ross Geller lost custody of his son.
Bring that up.
You were gonna bring that one up?
Yeah.
That one
because that got like picked up by like BuzzFeed, right?
Cosmopolitan.
Which like at the time, BuzzFeed was like a thing that you wanted to get picked up by.
At the time, in 2014, the most important thing that could happen to a blogger is for BuzzFeed to write an article about your blog.
Yes.
So yeah,
I'll be honest. At that point in time, I was convinced you were going to become a BuzzFeed writer. I was like, oh, they're going to pick him up. This is so good. They're going to love this.
Yeah, I remember I was like going to try to break into. I was like, I'm going to write for Craft.com.
Oh, that would be incredible.
But then it was like, I always just wrote for me.
Yeah.
Not that I can't write for someone else, but there has always been a level of like I like owning my own websites and running my own websites and trying to play that game. But yeah, and it's weird. I've been like but yeah, at a certain point I have, especially over the last year, I've really not made much of an effort for DF Lovett and David Lovett to be different people. It's actually a nuisance in a lot of ways, especially because DF Lovett, it's like, is there a space between D and F? Are there periods? Is it one word DF?
Like it's an SEO challenge.
It is, and like Goodreads is a nightmare when it comes to writing.
Yeah,
where it's like I lost access to my Goodreads. Like I can't control my Goodreads account anymore, and it's like not properly syncing with Amazon. It's just I guess my advice for viewers at home is maybe don't do the initial thing, as tempting as it is, because it's annoying.
That is interesting. Yeah.
But JD Vance would disagree.
Sure.
It's worked out really well for him.
He kept it. Yeah.
He's done all
well, and like so many authors, it makes sense as an author to like try to go that route because so many authors have.
I know, and that's part of why I did it. I was like, it's an author thing to do.
But like J.R. Tolkien didn't have to think about SEO or J.R. Tolkien never did a podcast. You know, like
he definitely never. Someone else managed his Goodreads profile. yeah. He died in like the 50s, right?
Probably.
He's been dead for a long time.
Yeah, he's been dead.
And you know, I think like, you know, Christopher Tolkien, if he reaches out to Goodreads or Amazon, they probably are like, yeah, we'll fix that.
Oh yeah.
But you know, I don't have the clout of Tolkien.
Right.
And then there's someone like George R. R. Martin where he did it both ways. He's like, I'm not going to be George Martin, but I'm not going to be G.R.R. Martin. I'm gonna do a double.
Yeah.
Which it's like, is that really? Does he really have two R middle initials? And then there's I don't know. So I'm not saying like I wish that I had never done the DF Lovett thing because it sounds cool.
Yeah.
And I do, you know, it's not like there's a different DF Lovett out there who I'm like, oh man, that guy again.
Yeah.
And you know, I've got all the handles for it. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
There's times where it's annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I used to go by Shawnee High Roller in the public sphere quite a bit.
Yeah.
And in the last year or 2 years, I've just kind of been like, it seems like an idiot's name.
It's a little weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
An idiot's name.
It seems like an idiot's name. And I've been like kind of slowly distancing it.
You're becoming yourself again.
Well, and I think that's what that is I think there's a level of, I think maybe maybe not for you, but I think for me there's a level where like I was trying to like distance myself from my artistry.
And that
but that's kind of a stupid play.
But it is something that I think societally maybe you are encouraged to slightly distance yourself. Like, well, you're going to be a grown-up, and over here you can be an artist.
Yeah.
Like
you can't be both on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
in a certain sense.
And you know, that's this is a weird. Okay, so something I always think about is like, you know who William Carlos Williams is?
Not offhand.
He's a poet who. Okay. Really, like maybe one of the best poets. He's up there with like Robert Frost.
Okay.
But not as famous.
Sure.
Still pretty famous.
Sure.
So William Carlos Williams, like I don't know why exactly this was his life, but he was a doctor who delivered babies.
Okay.
And he wrote poems.
Okay.
And every baby he delivered, he wrote a poem for.
Oh.
Which is insane.
That's
Can you imagine if you were
like,
wild. You're like, oh yeah, here's that poem William Carlos Williams wrote when I was born. And that part might not be true. I think it's true.
Okay.
I think he did that.
Okay.
He was definitely he was a doctor who delivered babies, and he was a poet.
Okay.
And like, what would his LinkedIn profile say?
Oh, wild. Yeah.
Doctor, pipe, poet.
Yeah.
Like Nobel Lore. I don't know if he was.
That's a very niche industry.
Yeah. And so, but I think that there is like this societal thing where it's, you're gonna be a writer. What else are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're gonna be you're a comedian. What else do you do? What else do you do?
Yeah. Yep.
You're in a band. So are you also a bartender, or are you? I'm not trying to be mean.
Yeah.
Like, are you also a bartender, or are you also a banker?
Yeah.
You know, like, what is
yeah.
the other thing that you are? Because I think that there's, I don't know if I want to say pressure, but maybe this idea that like, yeah, you might, if you're going to be doing silly things out there, which comedy, band, books, blogging, whatever. If you're gonna be kind of silly, you should make sure that
you hide that.
You better
from your
hide
employers. Yeah,
you better hide
from someone who might want to give you money.
You better hide your silliness.
Yeah. Which is interesting because I think what you eventually find is that that's what you get hired for.
Right. It'd be like maybe
they're like, oh well, there are a bunch of guys who do SEO. But none of them are also writers. So I bet this guy is better at it. You know, like, or my position, like, oh, this guy does like social media management.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's also funny. That might be good for the comments. You know, like, yeah. And like now, that's what makes me better at doing what I do as a social media manager.
Yeah.
Better than someone else who might get hired for the same thing.
At the very least, it makes you more interesting.
It makes it interesting.
Yeah.
And enjoyable for me because now I'm not just like comment. I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity to write a joke, you know, and it keeps the muscle sharp or the tool sharp.
I'll say I applied I applied for a job once, and this was probably the first time that I ever. So it was a long time ago. It was actually before I started working in marketing full time. I applied for a job. I'll just say where at the Walker.
Okay.
The Walker Art Institute.
Okay. Yeah.
Walker Art Museum. What? The Walker.
Yeah, the Walker. Yeah.
For the folks at home
in Minneapolis.
In Minneapolis.
Yeah. The famed Cherry and Spoon is on the front lawn.
And their sculpture garden.
Yep.
And I put on my resume, my blog, what would Bale do? It's very weird looking back, and it wasn't even a writing or marketing related job.
Yeah, sure.
But I was like, this is one of the things that I do.
Mm-hmm.
You guys should know about this. And I somehow I made it to a third round of interviews. And each interview, they wanted to ask me more about the blog.
Interesting.
But it got more skeptical and negative as it
Okay.
Where it was like round one, it was like, we're really intrigued by this blog of yours. And like you go to the blog and it's like, Christian Bale should be in a Brave Little Toaster record. Which was like that. That was what was on there.
Yeah.
Like Blank Check 2 needs to happen now, starring Christian Bale as an adult. The time has come.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, I need to figure out what to do with all those blog posts are all just sitting there. Also, the blog ranks number 1 for Blank Check 2.
That's incredible.
I think it does. It did for a while because no one else has ever written about Blank Check 2 because it's a stupid thing to write about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like we need a dark and gritty reboot of Brave Little Toaster, Blank Check 2. There were so many of them.
Well, this was at a time too when that's what Christian Bale was doing. He was rebooting franchises.
It's what Christian Bale. It was like, you know, Dark Knight era, Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator. Yeah.
He was on a run there.
He was. Yeah,
where everything he was in was, and also it wasn't just him. It was like everything was a dark.
That's true.
Movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just gonna write a thing only about this, and there was one joke, you know.
Yeah.
It was just one joke that I wrote 100 blog posts on.
That's great.
And a lot of people would be like, I don't understand your blog. And it'd be like, well, Christian Bale makes really good dark and gritty reboots, and so I've got ideas for other ones he should do.
Yeah.
And like, as of when, I didn't even know if it was a joke anymore. It was like, am I just writing movies I wish existed? But so then imagine trying to explain that in a job interview.
Yeah.
At an art museum, and they're like, and you wanted us to know about this blog. And it's like, I did.
Mm-hmm.
And like one of the guys was like, has Christian Bale's have his people reached out to you? And it was like, I don't know. Like, you've never gotten a cease and desist. It's like, he probably doesn't know what the internet is.
Yeah.
Like, Christian Bale is not bothered by
That's
this.
probably true to an extent.
I bet he checks his email every couple months.
Yeah.
Or someone like prints off his email and brings them to him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Like,
got to get like invoices and new scripts somehow.
like he's not like on social media.
Right.
He's not that one of the weird things too is I don't even know that much about him. Like I know a fair amount about his movies, but like I've never gone into like learn everything I can about him. Partially just, but yeah, it was like, has he reached out to you? It's like, no. Who would do? What would that email be?
Did they just bring you into the interview because they were like, maybe we'll get to meet Christian Bale?
Part of it was I think that they were all just really amused by this. And,
sure.
And
what is this guy's play?
What's the deal?
Yeah, what's the deal? Yeah.
I wonder if maybe I shouldn't have said the name of where I was interviewing. I didn't get the job, which is probably a good call.
Sure.
You know, like, yeah. I don't know if I would have been good at it.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even a marketing job. That's the weirdest part. That's why it's like, why was I...
What was the position even?
It was like in the office.
Yeah, just, Sure.
Working in the office.
Yeah, moving papers around. Yeah. Like, trading emails with other people.
Yeah. Like... You know, I mean, I got to see cool parts of that museum. Like, I mean, I like the Walker. The Walker's awesome.
The Walker's great.
The Walker's really cool. In no way, this is a joke about, this is a story making fun of me.
Yeah.
Like, this is not about how the Walker made a bad call by not hiring that weird kid with
for me, that's what this is about.
Like, Walker's cool. Good job, guys. Like, I'm, good decisions. Whoever you hired, I bet was way better.
Probably. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
They wouldn't have been like trying to work on this blog on company time. I had this idea for what if Last of the Mohicans was darker and grittier? It was Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman.
A darker, grittier Last of the Mohicans.
I probably wrote that blog post. Like there was like the one that I'm still really proud of that I wish the IP would allow for is like mashing up William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury and The Fast and the Furious. And like I think it was like taking Sound and the Fury but like making it a racehorse story.
Oh,
and having the cast from Fast and the Furious play the characters of The Sound and the Fury. It's not like it was an idea I was proud of. It was called The Sound and the Furious. I don't know how or why that would ever exist, but. Maybe one day.
It's a pretty fucking cool band name.
Sound and the Furious.
The Sound and the Furious?
Yeah.
That's a...
Do you need to use it?
Somebody might
write it down.
Yeah.
Someone. Kids.
Yeah.
Kids at home.
Comment it. It's yours now.
Yeah, you can have it. $100.
Even better if you can get Vin Diesel to come to your shows.
Yeah. I bet that would... I mean, that band might exist.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Should look into it.
Yeah, we'll look into it. Yeah. We'll give them a plug if they do exist.
I mean, there's the... Yeah, we should give them a plug.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
There's that Sturgill Simpson album, Sound and Fury, I think.
Oh, yeah. That's a thing. Yep. Okay, so this is well-worn territory.
Maybe. We'll find out.
That's why you didn't get fucking hired at the Walker.
Because I just...
Yeah, like this guy's idea. Is it kind
of nothing? I mean, they probably were like, so he's got a joke. He's got a joke about Christian Bale. One joke.
He's just going to talk about Christian Bale every day he comes to work.
Yeah, this guy seems weird.
You'll never believe it. We interviewed this guy who's obsessed with Christian Bale.
Right. Like, you guys got to look at this website. This is insane. He put this on his resume.
Yeah.
So... Well, I finally understand that part of my life.
He told us about his plans to reboot American Psycho.
Yeah, I'm
right. To make it darker.
Christian Bale's going to play Willem Dafoe's character. Aren't they trying to reboot it? Like they're always like it's a constant
God, I'm sure. Yeah, well, I mean that's everything is in a state of reboot now, right?
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a perpetual like yeah, I mean
Because my understanding is that it's like these production companies don't want to let the IP go.
Yeah, you gotta
so you just gotta keep making Spider-Man movies. Otherwise you stop making money off of Spider-Man. Even if it's a shitty Spider-Man movie or a shitty Terminator movie.
Yeah, you gotta make
it. You gotta keep it. Yeah.
For the record, I like the new Spider-Man movies.
Oh, same.
I don't want any.
I think for the record, I think the Christian Bale Terminator movie is deeply misunderstood, and I think it's one of the best, if not the best, Terminator movie after Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is maybe the greatest action movie of all time.
Terminator 2 is awesome,
but the Christian Bale Terminator
Salvation.
Yeah. It finally takes it into the future. It's interesting.
It's the only
it's
time
not trying to reboot the thing.
There's literally no time travel. It's the only one without like a time travel.
That's the best part of it. Yeah.
And it's like, we finally get to see what it's like when John Connor is fighting robots in the future.
Yeah.
It's the only time they've done that.
Yes. That's what makes it the most interesting. I don't even care that it's like not perfect.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the best one, but it might be the most interesting.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Because Terminator 2 is the best, or the original might be the best.
Well, yeah. I would accept either of those. Yeah.
I rewatched the original one not that long ago, and the thing that's really fresh in my mind from it. I don't know the last time you watched it.
It's maybe been a year. Yeah. I mean, I'm obsessed with the Terminator movies. Yeah.
So the whole premise is that the way the Terminator finds Sarah Connor is he gets a phone book.
Oh, interesting.
And he just starts killing in the order of the phone book.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 3 Sarah Connors in LA. Mm-hmm. So he kills the first 2. And that's how Sarah Connor figures out he's trying to kill her.
Yeah.
She sees it on the news.
Yeah. She's at work.
Yeah. She's like, 2 Sarah Connors were murdered?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And some girl she works with is like, hey, I'm going to get you. She's like making fun of her.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're remembering this correctly.
Maybe.
And then this guy's like, hey, I'm a human from the future. You should, it's not a coincidence. There's a robot killing everyone named Sarah Connor in LA.
Yeah.
And he's going in order of the phone book, and your name's like Sarah Q. Connor. So you got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that very basic, like, how would they make that? I mean, I guess they've made it over and over again, so we don't have to wonder how they'd make it now.
Sure.
The phone book is such a like moment in time.
Yeah.
Where it was like the phone book, you can find it because he goes to a
like now the Terminator would go to Instagram,
I guess,
and find all the Sarah Connors on Instagram
or Google.
Like,
would he just,
he would hire an SEO guy to help him.
Or they'd be
go to a marketing firm.
Or they'd be like, hey, we have the GPS coordinates of Sarah Connor.
Oh, that's true.
Like, just go back in time and just kill her.
Yeah.
Here's her GPS coordinates.
That's true, yeah.
Also, though, Terminator 2 does make more sense because it's like, let's just kill John Connor.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all of it doesn't really make any sense where it's like, oh, so you screwed up killing Sarah Connor. Okay, like, let's do it again. Like you it could happen on loop.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Why is there 12
Well,
years?
that is what I like about what is it Genesis? Not Genesis? Which one? It's the one that like picks up right at the end of Terminator 2.
That one's sweet.
Yeah.
With where Linda Hamilton's not like
Linda Hamilton is back.
Yep.
And then there's like 2 new Terminators.
And John Connor's dead.
And they
killed John Connor. Yeah.
Spoiler alert: they killed John Connor
sorry, guys.
right away in the beginning. If they're still part of this Terminator conversation, then
so they shoot. Yeah, it's like, and then he shot my kid.
Yeah.
And it's like the opening scene is the Terminator shoots John Connor.
Yeah.
And then like walks away.
Yeah.
And then and then there's
I'm gonna go be the governor now.
And then there's a new Skynet and a new Messiah.
That's right.
And a new Terminator.
Yeah.
And Linda Hamilton's drawn into it.
Mm-hmm.
And they go find the Arnold who killed John Connor.
That's right.
And he's like, I'm just a man now.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, he has like a wife.
Yeah, he's like, I got a wife and kids.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, how's it?
Oh, man. I forgot about that part of it. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that was a good movie, but I liked it.
I liked it. Yeah.
The more we talk about this, the more I'm pretty sure I like every Terminator movie.
None of them are good except for 1 and 2, but I love all of them. It's
the same thing as like Predator, Alien, Terminator, where it's like they made a good one, and now they keep exploring the world, and like they keep exploring the world in cool new ways, but maybe the movies aren't good.
Yeah. Well, and like Terminator 1, Terminator 2, the first Predator are good because it's about the monster.
Yeah.
It's not about the world that the monster lives in. And
Aliens is good. That's
true. But it's still very focused on there's monsters inside this ship.
Yeah.
You know? They're not like trying to like build the world out too much bigger than the monsters. And I think that's where the Terminator movies go sideways a lot, because they're trying to build the world doesn't even make sense, because why wouldn't you just kill the kid?
They finally
Which
did.
They finally do.
Finally.
But it took them 30 years to get there.
Yeah.
20, I don't know. 20, and it took too long.
Yeah.
That should have been the third Terminator movie.
Just shoot John Connor. Let's move on.
Yeah.
What is the third one?
The third one is they got a different actor to be John Connor, and they should have just killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that I always forget about the third one.
Yeah. The third one is the worst one.
Because it was 3, then it was...
The third one is legitimately bad.
That one's bad.
Yeah.
Because it went 1, 2, 3, Christian Bale reboot, in the future, no time travel. And then Daenerys from Game of Thrones did one.
That's right. I almost forgot about that. Yeah.
Then they finally brought back Linda Hamilton.
Yeah.
Because I think they finally realized, like, oh, Jamie Lee Curtis is back doing Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's other examples, but it's like we can bring our final girl back. We can make it interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
good
stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I'm here to promote. Actually,
is the Terminator movies.
I'm rebooting my blog, and it's just gonna be retroactive movies Christian Bale should have.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I don't. No one needs that.
Christian Bale should have been in Marley and Me. Yeah.
The sequel.
Yeah.
Marley and Us.
Yes. Marley and We.
Marley and We.
All right. Let's move on here. We've been rambling for a minute, and I do want to get to the reason.
This matters to the folks at home.
It does. I'm sure it's very deeply interesting.
How many regular listeners? Like
about 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And they're we're really banking on all of them being Terminator fans.
Yes. Yeah.
So
well, if they're fans of me, they better be.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Get out of here. You don't like the stuff I like? Anyway, I would like to move a little bit to the books you brought with.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the books you brought with?
Sure.
Yeah.
So Sean asked me if I wanted to talk about these books on here.
That's right.
We've got a series here, games you can play in your head by yourself. This is the first one. And I think we were gonna talk about this right away, and we never did. D.F. Lovett is the name on these.
Oh, yes.
I feel like you were teeing that up, and instead we talked about Christian Bale.
Yeah, I think that's... Yeah.
So, D.F. Lovett, not David Lovett, but I really don't hide in here that my name's David. I'm pretty sure... Yeah. It says David right here. But these are, basically this is a series. I was going to say these are a collaboration. It's a little complicated because I did not write these, just to be clear about that part.
Yeah.
And neither did my collaborator, Sam Gorski. Sam and I basically found these old books of games that are from the 80s, 90s. They were written by this guy named J. Theophrastus Bartholomew. There's a picture of him in here for anyone who's interested. That's him right there. Maybe you could zoom.
Maybe we can put a zoom on that.
That's the only known photo, last known photo, first known photo of this guy named J. Theophrastus Bartholomew, who he don't know much about him. He appears to still be alive, though. It's something that we found out.
Interesting.
Between publishing books 1 and 2, he made contact, and he's not totally thrilled with what we're doing. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We do own the legal rights to these, though. I think that's one of the important things that I just want to make clear.
Sure.
So here we go.
Yeah. There you
I'll
go.
show you both of these right here. This is the original. It was published 7 years ago in 2019. This is the new one. Top 10 games you can play in your head by yourself, and top 10 scary games you can play in your head by yourself. This here is an expansion pack that this one Sam and I actually did write.
Oh, okay.
So everything that's in this expansion pack is just Sam and me. And it's our effort to explore the universe a little bit more. It pairs specifically with scary games. It's also, got some cheat codes in it. It's the whole idea behind it, is if you play, for example, top 10 scary games you can play in your head by yourself, some of these games are pretty hard. And
okay. Yeah, I haven't read this one, but I have read the first one.
Brought one for you.
And I will admit that some of the ones in the first one are hard too. Yeah.
Some of the ones in the first one are hard. I would say that the games in the second book are harder and scarier.
Okay. Yeah.
They're genuinely scary. They're also a little bit more adult. That's some feedback we've gotten. Some of it was not very positive. We've gotten some feedback that this is little too scary, little too adult. For example, there's a game in here called Naked, where all you're doing is you're naked, and you gotta
in your head.
Yeah. Sorry, for clarity.
Yeah.
You're playing this in your head by yourself, so we're giving you a set of rules where you're imagining that you are naked in a real life scenario, but it's not good. You're out in, like, maybe you were skinny dipping and someone stole your clothes, or something happened, and you're out in the world. You're naked.
You're not naked because it's going to be fun.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
Maybe it started fun. Now it's not fun.
Yeah. Now it's scary.
You're skinny. You probably skinny dipping, but it's your imagination. What's happening, and you gotta either get home or you gotta find clothes. And this could be bad. You could get arrested. You could get hurt. You could get bullied. There's a lot of ways for it to go wrong. So in the expansion pack, we give you the opportunity to play naked as J. Theophrastus Bartholomew.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a new skin, essentially. So instead of playing naked as yourself, you're playing naked as the original author. And we got a picture of him right here of what we believe he looks like. Not totally sure. And you also, are you playing young Theophrastus Bartholomew? Are you? Sorry, there's some funny jokes in here. I recommend you play it later.
I will.
I just remembered there's a lot of scenarios that could explain why you're naked and J. Theophrastus Bartholomew. A few of them. Were you participating in a sex dungeon orgy that was busted by the police? Were you engaging in exhibition that went awry? Did you go to a nude beach that turned out not to be a nude beach? Any of those are possibilities.
Yeah.
And so the expansion pack is full of these kinds of things that will take your gameplay to the next level. Or in some cases, they will make it easier. You can play Business Magnate with an infinite money glitch. Which
Okay.
now you have not played
Not
scary
yet.
games
Not yet.
So Business Magnate is another one that's fueled some backlash because of the demonic elements.
Ooh.
There is specifically so the premise behind Business Magnate is you're running a business, and you've got a lot of real businessy concerns. You know, you need to have a business plan. What kind of franchise do you have? You have type 2 or type 1 diabetes. How many what's your favorite Genesis album? There's a lot of like really important things that you have to figure out.
Yeah.
How old are you? How many times have you been divorced? And then the game takes a turn where, let's say, no matter what, it's pretty unlikely that you can successfully run a business with the rules of Business Magnate. So naturally, you get the chance to sell your soul to a demon.
Of course.
And when the demon enters the scenario, it becomes a little bit more complicated because you have to get the best deal you can with the devil or with the demon. It's not explicitly, Lucifer
The devil.
Satan.
Yeah.
It's a demon.
Sure.
Because you even have the option to shop around to other demons.
Oh.
If that's what you'd like to do. You are a businessman.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So there's been a little bit of negative feedback saying that we're teaching people how to summon demons.
Oh.
And which is fair, because we do have in here an entire section. And to be clear, not Sam and I were telling you how to summon a demon. J. Theophrastus Bartholomew wrote the original book.
Yeah.
But Sam and I were concerned about the possibility of someone summoning a demon unintentionally. So we do include a section on how to perform an exorcism by yourself. And it does require that you burn this book as well, and then get a new copy. So if you personally play it, you have a bonfire pit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you play it and summon a demon or get worried even that you might have summoned a demon, I do recommend that pages 117 through 120 will tell you how to do the exorcism, burn the book, and then buy a new copy.
Sure.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might even be safe to keep 2 copies.
Well, we
in case
recommend
one happens to another one. If you're in this situation.
I mean, I recommend that everyone buy more than 1 copy in case you have to burn one of them.
Yeah.
Or 5 copies. 1 to lend to a friend, 1 to put in a little free library, and then burn the others.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Just be safe.
Yeah. Well, you have to be. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do think that we address the concern about the demonic stuff by telling people how to do an exorcism. So yeah, we, I wouldn't say that we've had profound levels of backlash. There was one Amazon review. There's an Amazon reviewer who is really determined, I think, to talk people out of buying the book. And he said that no one should play the games, no one should give it to anyone as a friend, or as a gift.
Yeah.
Did I pull it up?
Yeah. If you would like to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he makes some interesting arguments.
Okay.
Let's find this.
Yeah, we can pull it up too.
We can show it to the kids at home.
Yep.
He's not. Here we go. book.
The
first one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So yeah, we don't have a perfect 5-star rating because of this guy.
Oh.
Otherwise we would. A lot of good ones. Here we go.
Has he read the book?
I'm not sure. Here's what he says.
Okay.
I bought the whole set of books. So right away, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Bought all 3. I find the basic premise behind these games to be flawed at best. The idea of intentionally trying to create a shadow self in your own mind to play games against. We haven't even talked about the shadow self. I can explain that. But the idea of intentionally trying to create a shadow self in your own mind to play games against simply sounded problematic to me. I shared the books with a psychotherapist friend, and she agreed that the whole shadow self concept was at the very least unhealthy. I bought these, but I would not recommend it, and I would not give them to a friend. So, 2 stars.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. He gave us 2, not 1.
It's like 1 star more than
I would expect.
Yeah. Given basic. I wonder what it was that like made him still want to give you a 2.
He probably liked some of the games. I don't know. Maybe he liked the illustrations.
Yeah, maybe he likes the artwork.
Maybe he played naked and thought it was fun.
Interesting.
Might have been one of the games where the shadow self, because there's game. So the idea is behind a shadow self is, our understanding is J. Theophrastus Bartholomew invented the shadow self, probably based on a mix of like Jungian psychology, maybe some maybe some kind of esoteric mysticism.
Sure.
But the idea is like you're conjuring up another version of yourself within your mind who you're playing the games against. And there are some of these games where the shadow self is, pretty minimal, and there's other ones where the shadow self is a really big part of the game.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see how that'd be a little scary. It would, scare someone or maybe make someone go crazy, is this guy's concern.
Sure.
There's this old Tibetan concept of a tulpa, Tulpa. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, where it's essentially I'm not going to get it right, so I don't even want to try to explain it. Someone else can tell us in the comments what it is. But a shadow self, I think, can be seen as somewhat adjacent to that. I have, I've been playing these games since Sam and I first discovered these, which is a long time ago, over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I've never had a need for a psychotherapist to get involved based on my experiences, but they are dangerous. I'll say they're scary. They're dangerous games. But I don't know if anyone would full blown go to the mental hospital over these games.
Well, maybe that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Everybody buy a copy.
Everyone, check them out.
Check back in.
Let us know how you're doing.
Yeah.
If we need to add more disclaimer. I mean, these things are full of disclaimers. We've got disclaimers all over the place in these books. Like there's a lot of scary stuff in here. And we're really making sure that you don't, like we make it really clear, for example, in the game Killer, that we are anti-killing.
Yeah.
Right away, before you even get into the game, killing is very bad. Nobody should kill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't want anyone to think that like you're supposed to be a crazy person. These are games. But yeah, that psychotherapist out there and the reviewer, I think they're wrong, but open to having a dialogue. Let's get them on the podcast.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that would be incredible. Yeah, you want to zoom in? That'd be great. Yeah.
If you want to join us, I mean, they might be local for all we know.
Do you think that there's a possibility that that's why Mr. Theophrastus isn't happy with you guys?
Because he's crazy?
Yeah. Or because he thinks it might make people crazy?
Well, I mean, he put them all out there himself originally.
Okay.
So we just bought the legal rights.
Yeah.
So I think that based on some of our correspondence, I think that he thinks we've dumbed him down a little bit.
Oh.
That we've softened him. Okay. He doesn't like the idea of disclaimers. I think he thinks they should be darker.
So these are actually much safer.
These are way
than if he were to have put them out by himself.
If someone
like he might be like him putting his versions out might be dangerous.
Absolutely,
but these are like
these are dramatically safer. Than the originals.
Yeah.
I mean, he did not put disclaimers. He did not. Yeah. I mean, he's a madman.
Okay.
Pure like Sam and I have very intentionally made the decision to not provide the original versions of.
Yeah.
There's not a single game in here that we haven't to some extent softened.
Yeah.
And I know that some of the backlash we've gotten is that some of these are too adult themed or, not tasteful or any of these things. It's like, you guys should read the original versions. These are much more tasteful than if it was up to him. The thing is, we own the rights, so he legally can't even release.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Wherever he is. I think he's still alive. He was alive within the last year.
Okay.
But I don't know. I've never even seen the guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Incredible. Incredible. Well, everybody, that about does it for this episode. Big thanks again to David, also DF Lovett. Please.
I feel like we ended on a really weird note there, but
well, that's how it's going. Go to Amazon.
Yeah. Or try to get them through a local bookstore if possible. We would like to get these into local bookstores. They're definitely, or game stores. But right now it's Amazon.
Yeah.
But if you own a store and you would love to sell these, we would love to sell them through your store. Right now it's all Amazon though. So yeah. Glad we could end this on such a sinister note. Here they are.
All right. Hopefully Mr. Theophrastus gets a gander at this episode. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great night.
Hope he doesn't leave a comment.